worked a day shift, got held over for earlies. I don't know how we even kept our eyes open. Drove up this little alley, ran over a body. He was tied up. They tied him to the back of the car. They shot him and then drug him. I remember pulling cars over. The minute they knew it was deputies, there were 5 guys in the car. 10 hands would be out the window. If there were 9, it was because somebody only had one arm.
Welcome to the Proper Scoundrel Show.
Dale, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm honored to have you here, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me here.
Good day. I was looking forward to it. You did 20 years. Firestone, you started there, or what, did you do a station before that?
I started out at Central Jail.
Okay.
I did less than 2 years there, but I ended up being transferred to Firestone in 1979.
79. Ooh, those are hot years right there, right?
It was busy. It was like the busiest station in the county at that time.
Yeah, and it's a small station, such a small area.
It was crazy for just a small area.
I was living there when you were doing that. What cars were you driving back then?
We had the Novas. We still had one or two of those. I forget what they were. Dodge.
Those Dodge
Matadors.
The
old Matadors.
The Matador. Yeah.
But most of our cars were Novas, and then, but they were just tore up.
Yeah.
Pieces of junk. They ran good, but they didn't look very nice.
The sheriffs had the worst cars. We still have the worst cars. We beat the heck out of our cars. But I remember the 4-barrel Nova. You guys would come off of Nadu, and I lived off of May. I could hear you from Nadu. You enjoyed the time out there?
I loved my time out there. I probably would never have left.
Really?
I loved Firestone.
That much?
It just, yeah. You came to work. I mean, everybody there was there because they wanted to be there.
Yeah.
You'd come to work if you had paper to write and you were in the station and calls came out, you'd be jumping in a radio car, running out and backing up guys on the street. It was like you just worked forever and nobody cared.
It was fun.
Yeah.
You guys are having fun. It wasn't work. I want to go to work.
Yeah, we loved it out there.
How about the guys? Good guys?
Everybody there.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, certain type of guy likes to work. You grew up down there, so you know. But, I mean, there's only a certain type of person that really wants to stay down there and work down there and deal with all the things that you deal with.
Yeah.
Guys that don't fit in don't stay.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't want to be there very long.
They check themselves out, don't they?
Right.
Or they're asked. Maybe you need to find something else.
A lot of them don't make it off training. And that's, they come out and you sit in a radio car with them for a few weeks and this guy, needs to go. He doesn't need to be out here.
I've heard the stories. I mean, Ronnie Duvall was my partner at OSS for years. Liam Gallagher was my sergeant for years. I worked with Danny Beers, Tech Ops, and I heard all these great, great stories about the station. I mean, I was envious. It sounded like it was a fun time.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had several trainees out there that I rolled up and sent back to wherever they came from, and a couple of actually academy recruits when they were coming out on rides. Mm-hmm. We sent a couple of them back too.
Really?
Yeah.
On the ride-alongs?
Yeah.
Oh, it's high standards.
Well, you know what? I worked with a guy named Jim Wright. Jim Wright passed away. He was in my academy class, but we had a bunch of academy recruits come out for ride-along. And so they split Jim and us up. We each had recruits. And I had this guy, I can't remember his name, but Jim forgot his baton. And Jim said, "Oh, man, I left my baton at home." And out of the blue, this kid who probably should have just been quiet and paying more attention, but he jumped up and, I've got an extra baton in my trunk of my car. And Jim looks at him and says, "Okay," So We drive over to the trunk of the car. The kid opens it up, and man, it's like logistics in there. He's got little things with handcuffs, a couple batons, and he's got all kinds of equipment back there. And he takes the baton out and hands it to Jim. And I'm like, where did you get all this? And he goes, oh, I was off the street. I work logistics. So he'd been pilfering stuff from logistics.
Stocking
oh,
up.
Man. I said, oh, okay, get back in the car, and ended up writing a memo and sending it to the academy when he was done.
Let me just confess. Oh my God, that's crazy. You had how many trainees do you think you had total?
Oh, I didn't have a lot of trainees. I worked with almost every single trainee.
They go through every car, right?
Yeah. They just I mean, I had a couple. I had one that was a good friend of mine, but he ended up going to another TO and getting.
What were they getting rolled up for back then?
What did guys get?
Yeah, what was the majority of them getting rolled up for back then?
They couldn't handle the pressure or the amount of the amount of reports and calls. The overall pressure down there. It was really hard on a trainee. Even if it was a small area, you were just, from the minute you left the station, you were just overloaded.
Yeah.
And I remember trainees working. I mean, I never did this to a trainee, but I remember lots of trainees that when I got off my, say, PM shift and went home, I came back to work the next day and they were still sitting writing paper from the day before.
Yeah.
That they just couldn't get their paper right, or they had so much paper that they were just overwhelmed.
I remember that. That happened when I was out there too. Yeah. You just have to finish. You can't defer anything sometimes. Yeah. In custodies.
Right. And it's a scary place at times. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have I think like I said, it took a certain kind of person to want to be there. I had one trainee that, and I'm not going to use his name here, but I had a trainee that I took out I had him for about 2 weeks. Mike knows who he is, but had him for about 2 weeks and rolled him up for being a coward.
Oh.
Basically. I mean, he straight out did some things that he shouldn't have done. I mean, it was, we were in a really scary situation, and it ended up being a 997, and we had, well, I can tell the story if you want it.
Of course.
I was on a traffic stop down near Jordan Downs, and I had pulled the car over. I had the trainee with me. I'm inside of this Cadillac getting ready to search it, and Mark Wolf and his partner, I guess, were about two blocks behind us and ended up in a pursuit. And that pursuit started, and they drove right past us. And I'm yelling at the trainee, get in the car. And we get in our car, and we follow the pursuit, and it goes south down into the Willowbrook area and all there. And that's not an area I'm that familiar with anyway, but it's all the same. But, that pursuit goes for a little bit, and then the car actually loses control and hits the curb. Guys jump out of the car, 2 guys, and Mark Wolf is in the middle of the street, literally throwing blows with one guy. Mark's partner is in the middle of the street, Rick Blevins, throwing blows with another guy.
Okay.
And as we're coming into this thing, it looked like somebody stepped on an ant pile. I mean, people were coming out of everywhere, and it was just insane.
Yeah.
Immediately. I pulled up, I grabbed the mic, I put out a 997, and I told the trainee, get out, get your baton, get out. Don't let anybody touch those deputies. Nobody touches those deputies. You keep everybody away. And I jumped out of the car, and the trainee sat there. And I said, Get
What?
out of the car. Yeah, get out and help these guys. And I had already put it out. You could already hear sirens, and you can hear guys talking on the radio. And the kid looks at me and he goes, "Well, we're going to get our ass kicked." And I said, "Hell yeah, we're going to get our ass kicked." I probably will. But I said, listen to the radio. I said, help's coming. People are coming. Payback's coming. Get out of the car and go. And so I ran. When this thing ended, I mean, there were rocks and bottles flying, and people, man, we were slamming people. People started going to jail. When it got real, people left. But everybody ended up going to jail. I went back to the car, and the trainee's still sitting in the car. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I was taking care of the radio. I was monitoring the radio. So that was his last 5 minutes in the field. I drove him back to the station, told the watch sergeant what happened, wrote a little half sheet, literally a half sheet memo, and they put him on the desk. I was done with him.
I was surprised he didn't get an okay to book on him.
Yeah, narco. I think what they ended up doing is firing him.
Yeah.
And
he did go back out again, second time.
well, he didn't go back out in the field.
You guys, but
he was gone. And what I heard later is East LA Narco did a search warrant on some house, and they found a bunch of gangbangers and dope and stuff, and they kicked in a door in the back of the house, and here's this guy in bed with this girl, and he's flashing his badge to Narco, letting him know he was a deputy. Well, it happened to be the same guy. And he had somehow kept his badge and ID when they hired him. But
you can't make this stuff up, man.
No, you can't.
You can't get out. You don't get out of the car. He worked the jail, probably, right?
I worked custody. Yeah,
and I'm sure he did. He had to have, right?
They didn't work very long at that point. I think they were coming out pretty quick.
Because all hell breaks loose in the jail all the time. It teaches you how to back your partners. He didn't get that training though.
It was insane. Not everybody belongs out there. I remember his first day. His very first day, he was, I don't know, there's a certain presence we had down there at Firestone, and I'm not like an unfriendly guy. I like kids. There were a couple of kids down there that I saw and I talked to every day, but this guy's a trainee. You know, there's a certain way you expect him to act. And the very first day that he got in the radio car with me, we pulled out of the station and made a left-hand turn on Nadu, and there were some kids playing on the sidewalk or something like that. And out of the corner of my eye, I'm looking at this guy, and he should be talking to me about where we're at, what's going on. But instead, he's PRing people, and he's waving his hand to the kids. And I took my fist, and I hit him in the chest. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just saying hi." I said, "You need to be paying attention to me and what's going on here." And then it was probably like 10 minutes later, and he's a little guy, but he was all puffed up. His chest was all puffed up. And he goes, "Yeah, you know what? I grew up out here, and I can't believe I'm a real deputy out here now." I said, "You're a real deputy?"
Oh, my God.
And he said,
Talk about saying everything wrong.
Yeah. I said, "You're a real deputy? Okay." I said, "Then let's go take people to jail." I think I took almost everybody to jail I could get my hands on that night.
We'll take all calls now. Thank you very much.
That guy was something else.
I'm like, this is all the things you're not supposed to do. All of them.
On your first day.
Oh, I don't care if you're last.
I was terrified. On my first day, I was terrified.
Yes.
I had heard all the stories about Firestone.
Yes. He heard them. He just thought they weren't real, I guess. Thought he was on a parade.
Oh, he was. He was in his own world.
I got to ask you about Chain Man.
Chain Man. I love Chain Man. Everybody liked Chain Man.
I've heard about Chain Man before I read it in your book. I heard about it. I heard the story. So I want you to tell me what the story is with you.
Chain Man. When you first get out to Firestone, there are certain people that you know are going to be out there. You hear about them and stuff. Chain Man is kind of a real unique guy. He's a wino, basically. But I don't know what his thing was, but he was tattooed out. He had tattoos on his face and gold teeth. I mean, real gold teeth, not caps.
Yeah.
And he had these chains that welded around his neck, and then it would run down to a weld around his waist and down his legs. Big, thick, heavy-duty chains.
Yeah.
But he was just a real nice. He loved deputies.
Yeah.
He was just an old wino.
But he liked chains.
Chain guy with tattoos on. He like some circus freak.
Yeah.
But he was a lot of fun, though. He was just a wino. We picked him up one night. I was working with a deputy named Tony Pichot, and it was rainy and cold, and we saw a chain man on the corner, and Tony pulled over. There was nothing going on. This is one of those stories you can tell now, but nobody would have cared probably. But we pulled over and put chain man in the back seat, and he's freezing, and we got the heater on, and Tony drives down and gets him a bottle of Night Train, and he's sitting in the back seat. We had nothing going on. He sat in the back seat for 4 or 5 hours drinking his Night Train.
Staying warm.
And then when we were getting ready to get off of work, we decided, well, we're going to have to let you go. And he said, well, I'm hungry. I want some breakfast. So we drove him over to Southeast LAPD to the front, and we told him, look, get out of the car, go on into the station, and demand that they give you some breakfast. And he looked at us, and he was like, they'll feed me? And yeah, you just go in there and demand to see the watch commander and tell him you want your breakfast. So we let him out of the car, and he went in there and demanded I'm sure he got a breakfast.
And a bed.
And
a room.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the rain.
No.
He wasn't in the rain. He was warm. He probably had been there a million times. He didn't care.
There was a thing about Southeast. A couple times we dropped people off and left them, and then an hour later we'd drive back to our station.
And they're back on site.
The guy would be in our lobby. They'd drive him over there.
We did it when I was out there, and that's way later. We did the same thing. The other story I was going to ask you about, I did not want to forget, and I will forget if we keep talking, is about George, the guy with Super Bowl rings or NFL rings, where he went to go hook him, and then somebody had a fight with him, and then a female hooked him, and he just got in the car.
Oh, well, that was when I was at N.O.R.S.A.T.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go? How did she get him in the car? How did she get him in the car?
That was in, I want to say, I don't remember the exact year, but it was in the 90s, early 90s. But I was working N.O.R.S.A.T, and our unit commander, Roger Clark, handed me some paperwork and said, hey, look, they're looking for this guy. See if you can locate him. So I drove up to the Altadena area, and apparently the guy, I hadn't seen him. I was looking at the paperwork, but apparently this guy had been arrested prior to this, maybe a year or two prior, by Altadena deputies, and got into a fight with a couple of deputies. My understanding was he really messed the deputies up. He's a big guy. You could read from the paperwork he was big, but I started looking for the guy, and I knew he was a big guy, and I knew he was probably a dangerous guy to take to jail, but I drove up and I sat on a house, and it was just luck. I mean, I was there probably 30 minutes or less, and he drove up. But he drove past me, and he looked. I'm in an unmarked car. I'm in a Trans Am. And he drove past me, and he slowed down and got a good look at me, and he took off. So I went after him. And I'm in an unmarked car. I've got lights, but I need to back up anyway. I got on my radio and got Altadena to start rolling, and I lost the guy up in the
hills,
winding hills up there. And I was putting it out, and then I heard Altadena, some deputy said she found him. She got him. And she was going to do a traffic stop on him. And
alone?
They didn't know what I was looking for or why. But I got on the radio, and I told her, hey, don't try to take him by yourself. Don't do it. And I'm hauling ass to get down to where she is. And when I get there, I get out of my car and I walk up. She's just standing there by herself, and his car is empty. I said, "Where's he at?" "Oh, he's in the back seat of my car." I said, "How the hell did you get him back there?"
Yeah.
You know, and she said, "No, she's a female."
Yeah.
She says, "I just got him out and asked him to sit in the back of my car until, we were done with our investigation." She didn't even know what we were doing.
Oh, talk about lucky too.
Oh, yeah. But now we got to get him out of the car.
Oh, yeah, you got to move him.
And I was,
How do you do this?
yeah, this was not going to be easy. I expected the worst, but I opened the door of the back of the car, and he's literally wedged in there. And I just looked at him and I told him, I said, "Look, you're going to jail." I said, "He's on parole. He's got a parole warrant." I said, "You're going to jail." I said, "When you get out of the car, I said, don't turn around and face me. Mm-hmm. Step out of the car, face that way, away from me, and, inside the door, put your hands behind your back." I said, "If you give me any indication that you're going to, give me a problem," mm-hmm. I lied to him. I said, "If you give me any indication that you're going to, give me any kind of issue, I'm going to beat the living dog shit out of you right here." And I was like dead into his face about it. And he was like, okay. He gets out of the car. He's huge. I mean, my head was probably, he had to be 6'4", but not only 6'4", but well over 300 pounds.
Whoa.
Huge guy. And he got out and put his hands behind his back, and it took 2 pairs of handcuffs.
Oh yeah, he can't get his arms back.
I got him hooked up, and he didn't say anything. He just let me hook him up, and then I took him back, and all I had is my Trans Am. I put him in the front seat.
He wouldn't fit in the back.
He wouldn't have never
No,
got it.
never.
No, I wedged him literally in the front seat of the car, and he was all crammed up in there. I got in the car and drove him over to Temple Station to book him there. When I get him there, I'm doing the booking, and he was looking at me, and he goes, "You know what?" He goes, let me tell you something, man." He said, "When you walked up to the car," he says, I was gonna let you fucking have it." He goes, "I was gonna kick your ass." And I said, "Well, why didn't you do it?" He goes, "Because when you told me you were going to beat the dog shit out of me, I believed you would." He says, I believed you would." And I was like, "Well, I'm looking at him now." I said, "It's probably not likely, but okay, I appreciate you being a nice guy." He was actually pretty calm and cool with me, but he would have just.
Sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah, that was luck, because he literally. I think if you had said the wrong thing to him, like provoked him, it would have been on.
What type of rings did he have on? You said they were.
He had 2 big Super Bowl rings.
Whoa.
I forget what team he played for, but 2 big Super Bowl rings. I mean, big. I put them on my thumb, and I was bigger then than I am now. But
NFL football player.
Yeah, I couldn't put them on.
Oh,
they were massive.
Monsters, man. Those guys are huge. Sometimes you have to sit them sideways with their feet sticking out. I've done that before.
Oh, he was big.
Tell me about your book.
Well, I went through my career. I had a lot of things going on in my career. I don't think especially after I wrote the book, I realized I had people get a hold of me. I've never written a book before, so to tell you the truth, I really didn't know what I was doing. I wanted to tell this story, but it would have condensed it down to something really small. So I had to make a book. I decided to talk a little bit about me and what got me into the sheriff's department. Mm-hmm. Number one, the way I kind of like my childhood and how I grew up, and which I thought might be boring to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And then once I got on the department, I talked about my assignments and different things that happened at those assignments. What I found out is I got a lot of feedback on the book from people I knew and people I didn't know
Yeah.
about from the very beginning, even my childhood. Oh, yeah, hey, I had the same childhood you did. I had the same family situation you did. It made me feel like, you know what, I'm not alone. And maybe in some way when people are able to read things and it helps people kind of
Yeah. Absolutely.
get a grip on
they associate
things in their
sometimes with
past.
their things. They
I
kind
think
of.
so.
I think that's good. That's a good place to start. But putting it down on paper, that's hard. Remembering all these stories is hard.
Some of these stories, I'm in the process of writing a second book.
Oh, really?
And I have a reason for that. But that second book is going to be, I don't know whether I should spill the beans. It's going to basically be kind of, I'm calling it Tales Over the Hood. And it's going to be just stories of things that happened at the stations that I worked at and different stories.
Yeah.
And, things that people talk about when they're having lunch over the hood, but how these stories change. They go from being a real story to something
Epic.
Yeah, it's like having a bunch of old retired guys talking now, and I'll sit and listen to the stories, and I'm like, I don't remember it being like that. And,
I was there, and that's not the way it happened.
well, sometimes I remember stories, and I'm watching the guy telling them, and I'm thinking, you weren't even there. How did that happen? But,
I've had it happen in here. Where someone said later after we recorded, he wasn't even there.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny. But there were some stories I put in here that I thought were funny stories.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of, in my own way, I think, credit guys and glorify people that I worked with because I love the guys I worked with, especially at Firestone.
The unbelievable stories. The human, regular citizen doesn't even believe half the stuff we see.
They would never know. They never hear about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So.
That's what we talk about in here. Just say whatever you want. We get some great stories in here. Yeah. Great stories, and we're memorializing them by putting them on tape.
Exactly.
You did it on paper.
And I think the next book is even going to be better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You learned from your first one what you want to do.
Yeah. I've got a whole list of some funny and some sad. A whole list of stories.
We have both. Yeah, we all have both. You push that car, you have both.
Right.
But coming in here, we do both too. We've had people break down. We've had hilarious stuff go on. But I think it's good to get it out. I think we're getting guys in here to talk. I have them having a blast because we would lose it. It would be gone. It would be gone. And our kids, our families get to see another side of us.
Right. I talked about my personal life, and then I talked about just little stories from each of the stations that I worked at and things that happened. And what I wanted to do is build it up to the name of the book, the damage control, the final big story that I wanted to get out. And, I lived with that one for a long time, and I was more than happy to. Actually, I got encouraged by a good friend to do this.
Really?
And I tried to write the book one time, and I didn't see any prospects of ever making a book out of it. I just wrote it, and I lost all the, everything I wrote was gone out of my computer. And then I had a conversation with Mike one day, and Mike's like, you need to write this. I talked to somebody, and this story in the book, I'm not trying to jump ahead of us.
No, it's okay.
Back up. But the story in the book haunted me for years and years. I mean, literally haunted me because I just felt like there was no justice for the deputies involved and the way the department reacted and how they should have reacted to this. But I kind of got pushed a little bit to finally write the book and get it done. And I realized while I was writing it and afterwards there were a lot of people on the department, a lot of people I knew that knew little bits of the story.
Yeah.
They knew this guy at this place, and they heard this story.
Yeah.
But they never knew
Happens all the time.
the whole story.
Yeah.
And now it's here. And there were people that were getting a hold of not just me, but Mike, going, hey, this happened to me and that happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I happened to see this guy, this so-called psychologist, I happened to see the guy after an incident in West Hollywood. I had to go see the psych before I could go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered sitting down in front of the guy and, for 5 minutes, and I didn't know. I mean, who knew? I thought he was just some psych at psych services clearing me to go to work.
You have to go to psych, yeah.
Yeah. My first shootings, I didn't go to psych.
They wouldn't let me go back until you go.
Yeah, my first one was in '78, and all they did was ask me if I was okay. And
Really?
yeah,
It was
you okay?
nothing.
You want to go back to work? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, then they made it mandatory. My psych was cool. He explained a lot of good stuff. I didn't want to go to him. I thought he was going to relieve me of duty or something, get me in trouble. But he was cool.
Yeah, mine didn't even ask me hardly any questions. They just
want to see.
He was preoccupied with something else.
So, which story are you talking about? Which one are you? Which
The
story?
Hoffman story at the back of the book.
Okay, so it's a good one. Anything else in there you want to elaborate on? Anything?
Well, I mean, tell me if you have anything in there that interests you.
Pick the one that people say that resonates most with the deputies. What's the deputies say? Like, what do you get most feedback on?
I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
The Hoffman story?
I think that's probably the primary one. I mean, we could talk about deputy nicknames and stuff.
Oh, yeah. All day.
I mean, deputies didn't, I don't know how we got our nicknames, but.
I saw Happy.
Happy. Yeah. You know what's funny, though? When I went to, when I first went to Firestone, there was a deputy named Joe Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Holmes, I'm sure you know him, but they called him Blondie.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Jackie Yarborough.
Yeah.
And they called her the Lady Blondie. But when I got to Firestone, Joe Holmes, I just remember I worked with them a few times, and Blondie. They don't even try to call him his name. And after I got off training, I don't know, maybe it might have been a few months after I got off training, I would pull people over, and I didn't realize Joe Holmes and I did look similar.
Yeah.
People could have thought we were related,
Yeah.
but I'd pull people over, I'd jam a group of guys or gangbangers, and hey man, come on, Blondie, you just stopped us. You were just here, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I wasn't just here. Joe Holmes had been there.
Yeah.
And then Joe went to gangs and grew a beard.
Mm-hmm.
So they started calling him Red because he had a red beard. So they didn't call him Blondie anymore. They called him Red. And then they were calling me Blondie. And I don't think anybody in the street ever knew the difference between me and Joe.
They thought you're the same person.
They just thought we were the same guy. But that Happy, the name Happy, I always wondered how I got that name because there are guys that worked Firestone that only knew me as Happy. I don't think they ever knew my name was Dale.
Really?
They would see me years later when I was working training bureau and working in the field. They'd walk up, hey, Happy. It's like they didn't know my name, they just knew Happy. But that name, we were talking about it on the way over here. Mike was making a joke about it, but it might be a little tick thing, or a nervous thing, but I'm not like the toughest guy in the world or anything. I'm pretty normal, but there was this thing. I wouldn't back down from a fight, never. would I back down from a fight? I mean, I could take care of myself,
Yeah.
especially back then. But I think I had a little tick thing or nervous reaction when I'm talking to somebody and I knew that this was going to go to blows, I would start smiling. I would be talking to them going, well, yeah, if that's what you want to do, and I'd have a smile on my face and then, it would go down. And I guess the whole time I'd be on the ground,
Laughing and smiling.
smiling at the guy while I was working him over. So they all started calling me Happy.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. And you get those names from the street, right? A lot of the gangsters will call you names. You'll hear them.
That's funny. I mean, when I went to West Hollywood in '85, I went to West Hollywood, and the first week I was there, I would stopping people up on Sunset Boulevard and stuff, and carloads of guys and Crips and Bloods up there capering, and putting them on the hood or putting them on the curb and doing the same stuff I did at Firestone, searching their cars, talking to them, and they're looking at me and they're going, "Hey man, I know you.
Really?
I know you. You're Blondie." And one guy was telling one guy on the ground one day, he goes, "Man, shut up. Shut up. Don't you know who you're talking to? That's Blondie. Blondie, he shot Daryl Thompson. You don't remember Blondie?" And he'd be, I'm like, whatever.
Whatever gets you to calm down and not mess with me. Yeah, those are funny stories. Did Blondie come in like bad? Like they were mad at you? Like did it cause friction?
No, not at all. No, it was just there. I mean, they could call you Hedges. Sometimes they called me Hughes because they didn't pronounce your name right. But that's just, I think it's not on the street having that kind of a name. It wasn't, it was more like a respectful thing. Mm-hmm. They respected you more. They knew who you were, and they knew that they couldn't cross a certain line with you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think they had nicknames for a few deputies out there. But
I had some guys from Firestone here. I had Guy Motto, and those guys. And then it seems like you guys had a lot of practical jokers, a lot of playing jokes on each other. Was that true?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got too much time on your hand.
I've heard some funny stories, and I love those stories. I love them because I think it bonds you guys. It just makes you. Like a brotherhood.
Yeah, there was no nobody capered on anybody to be mean or anything. It was all funny.
Everybody wanted to go to Firestone. I was mad when they closed. That was my number one. They closed it, but everybody wanted to go to Firestone. Everyone. That was the place to go, and then they shut it down. It's the most sad day ever. And then I think it would have been cool just to leave it. Why close it? You could have kept Century or CRDF, but left Firestone.
That whole area, it changed. Mm-hmm. It went from, I saw a lot of changes over just a few years. Mm-hmm. When I got there, some of the north end up there above Nadu had turned into really heavily Hispanic. Mm-hmm. In fact, some of the areas up there were kind of nice. I mean, there was an area behind the station that looked like you were in Beverly Hills. Yeah, nice. But a lot of the other houses, especially closer, I think, to Central on the west side and north of Nadu, a lot of those people up there were fixing up their houses and made them kind of nice, and we didn't get very many calls up there, hardly any at all. Everything's slowed down up there, but I think a lot of the gang members were moving out and moving up to Palmdale and Lancaster and
over to Paris.
Yeah.
They're splitting them off, getting those houses.
So Firestone I remember when we got there, Firestone, I mean, it sounds weird now, but I mean, for a 4.5 square mile area, we were getting 200 calls a day plus. And, I mean, you only had 4, maybe 5 cars in the field at maximum at a time. So, I mean, you were busy. That was a busy station, and that was the busiest station in the county. And then over a few years, it was Lancaster, Palmdale.
Yeah.
When I first got there, Palmdale would get, it'd be 10 o'clock at night, and they'd be on tag 20.
Oh, yeah.
Cows on the road and, stupid calls like that. And if they did get a call, that they were tying up the radio and the frequency, and we would get all frustrated with them because it was stupid stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Over just a few years, I mean, they went from call 20 at 10 o'clock at night to call 320.
Yep.
I mean, it went off the rails.
As soon as they tore down or moved the people onto the 105, they moved them to Lancaster, Palmdale, and a lot went to Paris or that side of town. They blew up.
No, it's crazy.
The neighborhoods blew up, and L.A. got quieter. It seemed like it anyways.
Palmdale, Lancaster was like a Section 8 housing boom for people that wanted to get out of South Central. But
before I left, it was busier hell up there. Even then, in 2000, it was busy, still busy. And the guys that want to go to patrol fast, they can go there, get out, get their ticket punched, and then go where they want.
Right.
Because they're rotating people. So many people to get in and get out, come back to LA. But if you want to stay in the jail for less than a year, 2 years, you go to Lancaster. You'll go out quick. You go out in Compton, you're going to spend 8 years trying to go to jail, trying to go to patrol.
Wow.
The fast track.
Funny because I remember nobody wanted to go to Lancaster.
That's why I think they go so fast.
Yeah.
But then you got to live out there, or you got to drive out there.
Right.
But I lived on that dead end at the tracks I told you on 7-6. Sheriffs would pull into that little dead end. That's their catch and release spot. So they would pull in all day long, take somebody out of the car, give them a little hug, kick them, and they would kick them out and go. So, and I remember sitting out there with my dad in the front yard watching the sheriff pull somebody out of the back seat, give him a little love, send him on his way. So that was the spot. No one ever said anything. We thought it was normal.
Well, back then it was normal. I mean, come on. I mean, that's when, I don't know, it was different. Police work was different. And I'm going to tell you, I will tell you honestly, back when I worked patrol, and this wasn't so uncommon, if a guy challenged you to take off that badge and gun and told you he would whip your ass, you
took off your badge.
You took off your badge and gun, and you let him go for broke. I had guys in the back of the car a couple times for silly ass stuff, but they'd be sitting in the back talking, take off that badge, take off that gun.
You ain't nothing with that badge on,
Yeah, we'd take them over to, at that time it was Drew Junior High or something at night and make the deal, Okay, well, if you whip my ass, you don't go to jail, but if I whip your ass, then you're going to go. And you get out, and most of the time they didn't want to whip your ass when they got out.
Okay, I was just playing.
Yeah. They'd look at you like you were crazy.
Yeah, now you're crazy, not just a guy who can kick my ass. This guy's nuts. Took off his badge and his gun. They don't get too many challenges, right? In Firestone, I know we were told, don't mess with the sheriffs, don't mess with the sheriffs, don't mess with the sheriffs. As kids growing up, don't mess with the sheriffs. And they pulled us over all the time. We got pulled over all the time. But all they found was sport equipment because we were all playing ball. So all we did was play baseball, football, whatever. But they'd throw our stuff out in the street, and then they'd drive away. I remember telling a story that Chevy Nova pulled us over right by Roosevelt Park, took everything out of our VW Bug, laid it in the street. We're sitting on the curb, and then you just hear the car drive away. I'm like, I guess we can pick up our shit now. Throw it back in the Bug, and we drove away. It happened all the time.
People knew. I mean, I remember pulling cars over. The minute they knew it was deputies pulling them over, if there were 5 guys in the car,
Hands out the window.
10 hands would be out the window, man.
Hands out the window.
If there were 9, it was because somebody only had one arm. Because they're all arms would be out the windows, pressed up against the windows. I remember backing up LAPD in our area one night, and car maybe loaded down like 4 times, and they were giving LAPD all kinds of shit when we pulled up, talking shit, give me your card, and just talking crazy at LAPD. And a couple of deputies walk up to the car, and everything got quiet in the car all of a sudden. All of a sudden, hands were out here where you could see them, and the deputies never said a word to them. They were just standing there. But man, all the hands came out, all the lip service ended. It was funny.
That's the way it was.
Yeah.
That's the way it was. I had 2 LAPDs here yesterday, and one of them said to me, I didn't say it. He said it to me. He goes, he jammed a guy, took him to jail, and the guy told him, I'm glad it was you, because the deputies would have kicked my ass. Yeah. He goes, I'm glad the LAPD got me. Yeah, those are true stories. I have audio recordings of some cool stuff with deputies, the deputy LAPD thing.
If you look at police work now versus then, I mean, it was dangerous then.
Yeah.
But it's just worse now because there's just no level of respect. There's no fear. When we would walk up on a car, the guy probably had guns in the car. There were almost, I'd say, 2 out of 3 or 2 out of 4 cars we stopped up there, you were going to get guns. You were going to get drugs. They knew it, but they were just not going to push your button and get, they were going to go for what they had, but they weren't going to get themselves in any deeper than that. Nowadays, oh my, yeah, I feel terrible for the deputies and stuff now. They can't do anything.
No. And then I feel bad for the guys even more. Is it the hesitation because they're afraid of getting in trouble before they do their job? That hesitation, everything is so fast out there. Should I, trying to be nice first. I saw a video the other day. Guy wouldn't listen to the commands. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Has his hands in his jacket. And the first thing the deputy did was pull out a taser. I'm like, dude, that's not the first thing you go for when you have no control over his hands. And then he pulled out a gun. So now he had to switch from a taser to a gun. And he got off and he did right. He got him down, did the right thing. The guy was just a bad shot, I guess. But that hesitation for what your primary weapon is at the primary time, at the most dangerous time, is when you can't see their hands. So these kids are going out there thinking of secondary and less lethal before they know it's secondary and less lethal worthy. That scares the shit out of me.
That's liberalism at its best. They're more worried about hurting the suspect than they are about losing a trained deputy sheriff that's trying to just enforce the law, or a trained law enforcement officer that's there to do his job. They're more worried about that crook in the car.
Yeah.
And what, how it's, what you're going to do is going to affect him. We didn't carry tasers. We didn't have handheld radios. I mean, when we got out of the car, it was us against whatever it was that we were going to walk into when we got out of the car. We didn't have handhelds. You walked away from your car, you walked away from your communications.
Yeah.
And, we learned to work with that. And it's crazy. I watch videos now where they're asking people to get out of the car, and the people roll up the windows and they're not going to get out of the car. Give me a supervisor. What makes them think that they have the right to have a supervisor come out every time some police officer stops him? It's crazy. And then the cops, the deputies and the officers are okay.
They do it.
Yeah, they do it. They call out a sergeant. They're afraid to. They're actually afraid to do their job. They're afraid that they're going to make a mistake, or is this the wrong person? And, where is this going to go after this? I would ask a guy, in fact, not when I say I mean everybody I worked with. If we ask someone to get out of that car for some reason, we would ask them once. Once was the request. The second time was either going to be a demand or generally there was that window that was still rolled down, and that was going to be his exit point. They didn't get a whole lot of 20 times being asked to get out of the car. So the next time they get pulled over and they're asked to get out of the car, they remember.
And the good people don't give you any of that shit. The only one that's giving you that option to come out your window is somebody who's trying to provoke.
And they do. They just sit there and provoke.
But my report says there's a reason why he didn't want to come out of his car. There's a reason why he's trying to connect with his car. He doesn't want to separate from his car. Maybe it's a weapon. Maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's a dead body in the trunk. So I can articulate that. The laws haven't changed from the time you were doing it. The case law says you can take him out of the car. I can ask you to get out of the car to separate himself from the vehicle. Vehicles are inherently dangerous. Just leave your suspect in. Crime area, gang area. I can articulate it. Leaving them in the car, we know what's in that car most of the time. They don't want to get out of the car.
There's a reason you don't want to get out of that car.
Yeah, and that's the most dangerous thing. I'm talking about hesitation, the danger points, pulling a taser, walking up on a suspect that's not secured and having, one's got to have less than lethal and the other two have their weapons out, primaries out. Who says that? What is that? What is that? Oh, we have to have a taser or a beanbag. No one.
How many things do you need?
The gun works for me. I can always put the gun back and get out a taser, but I'm not going to start with a taser.
You train people to use those firearms, and then once they're in the field, now they're being told, don't use your firearm. Use all these other silly little things that are going to give this guy more time. If he is going to do something bad to you, it's going to give them more time to build up the confidence and the...
The new policy is you have to write force if you draw your weapon.
That is insane.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. You have to write a report if you draw your weapon. Come on. Or sitting somebody in the back seat, you have to do a special login entry about sitting someone in the back seat. That's the most secure place you can put somebody while you're searching a car. You can't even
touch your gun.
No.
A lot of that crap where these people, well, why you got your hand on your gun? Take your hand off your gun. Number one, you don't tell me when it's time for me to touch my gun. And it's just insane. Police work is just, it's crazy right now.
So if you put yourself in the position of the kids that are in now, because I have family members on the department, and we talk about this stuff, and I say, you can still do all these things. You just don't have to explain yourself. Know how to explain yourself for the watch commander. The watch sergeant doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. If you can articulate it, there's nothing they can do to you. If you're following the law and you're training, right? They train me to do this. This is the way I walk up to a car. 2 o'clock in the morning, I might walk up to a car different than at noon. Dark, light, gang area, nice area. You walk up differently because that's your training.
Right.
You're not supposed to walk up like one way. You always change and you adapt to your situation and your positioning. They are not doing that. They're treating every call like it's a nice neighborhood, a nice car, a nice person. And that's not the way it works.
No.
And I'm worried about them because I know they want to do the right thing, and I know they know the right way because they were trained. So when they're going to briefing or they're going to, I says, in-service training, are they telling them, you can't do anything you were just trained to do in the academy, do it our way now? And who makes up our way? Because I don't know what that is. Your watch commander isn't policy. Pulling a weapon out in the field when you walk up to a car, that's a feeling. That's the feeling of I want my gun out when I walk up on this car. Whatever the reason, who's in it, what time, date, car, whatever. It's a feeling. It's intuition. You shouldn't be restricting that by making them hesitate. Is this enough to write a report? Because I have to log in. I got to write a report now that I pull my weapon on somebody. When I was out there, gun was always out.
Always.
Yeah. Every car I walked up on, gun was out. Because I work gang unit most of the time. Patrol, it depends. It might be something else. But most of the time, you feel that hair going up on the back of your head, that gun. You didn't point it at them. You might have had it behind your leg. Or right. Even if you unsnapped it. But you want to be quick. Because they have the drop on you, right? They can get the drop on you.
Be first.
You were a range instructor, so you know it's all about being faster and then more accurate.
More accurate.
Yeah, but you don't want to be late. You to minimize that timing. Gun out
You're
of
right. You change up your. I mean, we changed up. We always talked in our radio cars, especially at Firestone back then. It seemed like back then, everybody talked. Everybody at the station. It was officer survival.
Yeah,
that was like that buzzwords right there. Officer survival. That's all a trainee heard when he got there, and that's you lived it.
Yep.
And you trained it. You stopped cars. A lot of times we switched the way we walked up on cars because, generally, I know a lot of guys did this. The driver stays back by the car, and then the passenger walked up. A lot of the deputies out at Firestone, the driver walked up on the car, and the bookman stayed back by the car. But they always approached the driver.
Yeah.
I remember just one night, for some reason, you're right, it's feeling. We had a car, 5 guys in the car. It was 11 o'clock at night and on Florence Avenue, and we stop a car, and nobody in the car moves. They're all just sitting they were like little mannequins, and they didn't turn their heads, nothing. And we decided that I was going to walk up on the car. There happened to be where they parked a telephone pole.
Yeah.
So before we walked up, we talked, and I said, let me walk up and I'll look in the car first. And I know what they're doing. They're looking in the mirror.
To the driver's side.
Because they're expecting the driver to
side.
walk
Yeah.
up. I walked up around the passenger side of the car.
You scared the shit out of them.
They never saw me.
Yeah.
They weren't looking. And when I walk up, there's 3 guys in the front seat. One guy, the driver is just leaned back like this. The middle passenger is leaned back like this. And when I walk up, the passenger by the door has a locked and loaded 45 1911
No.
pointed. He's holding it close to his chest like this, but it's pointed right out the window of the car, and they're just all these guys are waiting. And I walked up, and as soon as I saw it, of course, I'm yelling, drop the gun, and the gun goes down on the floor. The guy drops it real quick, and guys come pouring out of the car. They're spilling out. So we're throwing them down on the ground. We ended up with a couple of guns out of that car. Oh. But yeah, they were waiting they thought the deputy was going to walk up on the driver's side, and they were planning on taking him out.
We would do that where we'd walk up and you startle the hell out of them because they're all looking to the left.
Yeah.
And you walk up to the passenger side and you go, hey, and they go, oh, it scares the shit out of them.
Well, actually, it scared me when I saw that 45.
I would have.
I mean, but
you got to switch it up. You have to switch it up because they're expecting that, especially if they're dirty. And that's the feeling thing.
Right.
You had the feeling. There's a feeling. Some people, putting the hands out the window, that's automatic in gang unit. I don't go up on the car unless get on the intercom. Let me see your hands. Everybody's hands. It's a little bit safer.
Yeah. I loved working Firestone, and I loved the deputies that I work with. I remember when Mike Borman came out. He's running for sheriff, of course, but he was just a poo-butt trainee then. But you know what? There are some guys that come out and you watch them as a trainee, and you just know that these guys are different.
Yeah.
I mean, not in a bad way at all. They're smart. They're quiet. They're going to be good cops.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell.
So I didn't interact with him much. His training officer was Steve Wyereater. And Steve Wyereater and I knew each other from high school.
Okay.
Actually, his sister was in my high school class.
No way.
I knew his younger brother.
Small world.
Yeah, they didn't live far from us. But Steve was considered a pretty rough TO.
Oh, okay.
He was hard to get past.
He was a hatchet man.
he definitely was.
Yeah.
But
Every station has him, and he was tough.
We ended up. Well, it's in the book there too. When you were talking about the Firestone 5 investigation, and I don't know what you heard about that or
Very little. Very little.
basically we had a Steve Wyreader had a female trainee. I got put into a car with Kevin Lloyd, everybody likes Kevin. Everybody that knew him,
I
loved the
love
guy.
Kevin. Good dude.
Kevin got off training and ended up working with me right off training. So we were working together, and then George Markell, he had a new trainee, Kevin Canberra, real nice kid. But it's just one of those nights where I was driving west on Florence and Wyreader's driving east, and we pull up like
Window to
window, and we're talking. And while I'm talking to Wyreader, Kevin Lloyd points out across the street, I mean, within 100 yards of us easily, a guy coming out of a bar with a gun in his hand.
What?
417. And Kevin yells out, he's 417, 417. And so we pull up. And about that time, George Markell is driving by, and he pulls up. So we literally chase the guy into the bar and do a quick bar search. And we ended up finding a couple of guns in the bar. The bar manager's the guy that had the gun. We take him to jail.
Oh, shoot.
I mean, it's a pretty basic, clean arrest, really. I mean, it was clean. Yeah. And it was probably a good obs on Kevin's part.
Absolutely.
So we ended up taking the guy to jail. And I didn't hear much about it for probably about maybe a month. I don't remember how long it was, but I get called in one night. Can you come in and work overtime? We need you to work overtime. And I said, okay. So I pack up my stuff on a Friday night and drive down to the station. They let me go in and get suited up, and as soon as I get suited up, they send me in a little room. They tell me to go into a little room. I think it was, I don't know whose office it was, but a little office. I walk in, and there's Steve Wyreader, Kevin Canberra, George Markell, and me all in the room together. And they take all of our firearms and have us just stand there waiting. What? We don't even know what's going on. And it took them a while. We were in there for quite a while, and kind of like scratching our heads like, what the hell? And finally, they came in and told us that we were being relieved of duty and we were under investigation. They didn't really give us a lot of information. There was at that time, I think it was Metro. I think it was before ICIB actually became a thing. It was a unit called Metro, and this sergeant came in, Guido Gutierrez, came in and pulled me aside, and he's shaky and sweaty, and I mean, I didn't know what was going on. He walked me back to my locker and had a search warrant to search my locker. And I'm like, okay, search my locker. There's nothing in my locker. And he went through my locker, and he ended up, we had these little glass vials with the black lids. Mm-hmm. We used to get a lot of wet PCP and stuff. Yeah. So I had probably 5 or 6 of them in my bag. Mm. And that's what he was actually looking for. And he was taking those vials out, and he was like shaking, inspecting them and stuff. They were all brand new, clean vials, but he took all the vials out. I don't remember him taking much else and keeping it, but they were looking for PCP. And later what we find out is, and I get it now why she did that, I believe, but made a bunch of allegations against the early morning crew, basically, the group of us, that we were, number one, that arrest of that bar owner with the gun, the guy never came out with a gun. It was all bullshit. It was all a lie. The gun was planted and all that, and which was straight out not true. And then the other allegation against me in particular was that I don't know how she could have known anything like this anyway, even if it was true, but that I had liquid PCP in my locker, that I used to keep PCP in my locker so that I could plant it on people in the field. And I'm thinking, yeah, who would believe that? I mean, if you had liquid PCP, if you had any kind of phencyclidine in your locker, I think pretty much everybody in the vicinity of your locker would know.
Yes.
You know, you could smell that a mile away.
Yes.
But they took it all serious and relieved everybody of duty. A couple of weeks after that investigation started, Metro wrote a memo to the captain, Jack Holt at that time. We called him Jack the Deuce for obvious reasons. But, well, he was known for coming in drunk, smelling of alcohol. But Jack the Deuce read the memo and declined to accept it and wanted the investigation to continue. So it turned into an 18-month investigation. And the department was so committed to going after and really destroying the Firestone, that whole Firestone thing that they hated so much, that they were just committed to continuing on that investigation no matter what. They fired us. We went to civil service, got our jobs back, came back to work. And, but it took 18 months. And then they had me transferred to Lenox for a while, and then I ended up going to West Hollywood for a few months, and then Dick Foreman, the assistant sheriff at that time, offered me a job at weapons training, and I jumped on that.
That's a great job.
You know what? The guy was a good guy. I talked to him after the investigation, and I didn't know him. I met him during ALAD's contract negotiations, and they asked me to come in and talk about investigations, lengthy investigations, and the effects on family and personal.
Kind of what's going on now.
And so I went in and I did about an hour presentation. Kind of like this. Nothing was in writing. I just went in and just started talking. But when it was over, Foreman wanted to talk to me personally, and I ended up going to his office. And you know what? I considered him a friend. I considered him a good guy. He very pro deputy. He there wasn't anything about him that was vindictive at all.
That's good.
He thought we got screwed. He told me he thought we got screwed, and he offered me an opportunity later. He called me personally and said, if you want the job, it's yours.
Nice.
So I took it.
That's outstanding. So how did the other guys do? They all went back too? They all came back?
Everybody came
good
back.
Good jobs? Or?
Yeah, everybody came back.
I know where Kevin went. I worked with him a couple of times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin promoted to lieutenant. I think for some reason, I had personal issues with Jack Holt from Central Jail.
Yeah.
And going back to CJ, I had my personal issue with him. I think the department, he had a brother-in-law, Commander White, at the time, and I think they both initially took a more personal attack on me. But I had that investigation carried over for years. I mean, things happened, and even though it was 5 and 6 years later, they still pointed to that Firestone investigation. And
like it was true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they said, well, it's too soon. I worked the range. I don't know when you went through if I was still doing it, but we were doing a lot of range construction up there.
Yeah.
We were building new ranges, and when I got up there, we had a sergeant, Bill Postmus. He was a range sergeant. he came to me. He knew me from the jail. He came to me and talked to me, and he says, "Hey, I have these projects I want to do. I want to start with a staff office." And so I built. I would do my training, and then while I was doing my training, I was coordinating all these projects. And one of them was a staff office that was probably already there, where all the range staff had a big office.
Yeah, I know that one.
I built that.
Oh, you did?
Or I got that built. I didn't build it myself. But, and then I had tied in some of the work that was going on up at the ranch already.
Yeah.
Some dirt moving work and stuff, and we were moving dirt, and we built new ranges. I built a new shotgun range.
Oh, yeah.
I went crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, it was
it's
good.
Great up there.
When I was leaving, I was getting ready to leave weapons training in 1990, and I was going to N.O.R.S.A.T. And Bill Postmus called me in. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have done it the way he did it, but he called me in and he goes, "Hey, I want to thank you for all the work you did, and I appreciated it, and I just want you to see what I'm doing." And he had this thing drawn up. I think it was for it might have been a meritorious service award or something. I don't remember, but it was a nice little one-page write-up recommending me for that award. And it said in there that I saved LA County at that time, and we're talking about the 80s, over $500,000 in construction costs by doing
the coordinating,
the work I did.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to come out of this hole from this investigation 5 years before, and now I've been working at weapons training. I had this great job, and I got an offer to go to N.O.R.S.A.T, this unit that was hard to get to anyway. It was pretty much you had to be invited.
Yeah.
And if you weren't invited, you weren't going. But I got offered that job by one of the N.O.R.S.A.T sergeants, and so I went there. And
how cool!
But anyway, I got this commendation written commendation thing from Bill, and I think about 2 months later, after I got at N.O.R.S.A.T, I got called to go down to the training bureau to see the captain or somebody down there. I ended up seeing the admin lieutenant, and he says, "Yeah, I just wanted to get a hold of you and thank you for all the hard work you did, and he blah, 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 and then he gives me a piece of paper, and I read it, and it's a commendation. It's the exact commendation that Bill Postmus wrote, or recommendation, I should say, but it's now written as a commendation, and they took the last paragraph out that recommended me for the award. And now they're giving me a commendation, and I read it, and I looked at the lieutenant, and I'm not really wanting to be rude, but I was surprised. I mean, what do you got to do to get an award from the county of LA? I mean, you can't, if you save them that much money and do all this work at training bureau, that's not good enough, And I looked at the paper, and I said, well, what happened to the commendation, to my award? And he said, well, the powers that be, he says, and I don't feel this way, he backed up, but the powers that be thought it might be too early to give you an award like that. And I looked at him and I said, well, fine, here. And I gave him the commendation back. I said, I don't want it. He goes, you don't want that? And I said, no, I don't want it. Throw that in the trash. Give me a break, man. I left. I just left his office.
These guys don't even know what they're doing up there.
Yeah, they did that a couple times. While I was at N.O.R.S.A.T, I took the sergeant's exam, the 1990 sergeant's exam, or 89, whenever that test was. And I was a little high on the list. I think I was 360 or something on the list. And then when the they wait for the lawsuits to come in, and everybody gets swapped, and I ended up at 160.
Oh, right.
So I was like, I can't believe this.
Yeah,
After all this, here I am, and I got relieved of duty at N.O.R.S.A.T over an investigation that I did, where it was a joint investigation I did with I had the feds, every N.O.R.S.A.T unit that we had, SEB, IRS, ATB. We had this. I put together this big investigation. Ended up doing search warrants across L.A. County and in San Bernardino County. Put a guy in prison over a bunch of stuff, and I got relieved of duty because that guy was upset. He's in prison. He got convicted, but he didn't like the way that we did the search warrants. So I got relieved of duty. And I happened to be, they sent me to, where the hell did they send me? To, I'm trying to think, but anyway, I can't remember where they sent me. They sent me somewhere anyway. And I'm there, at the crime lab.
Okay.
I went to the crime lab. And,
crime lab.
I'm sitting in the crime lab one day, and I pick up a teletype, and I look, and it's about the promotions.
Okay.
My name's not on the list.
Oh, my God.
The numbers are there, and the people are there, but they skipped mine.
What?
And then, and I ended up, of course, going back to N.O.R.S.A.T later, afterwards.
They just skipped right over you.
They did it. Yeah, I think I know. By then, I think a lot of it was because of this Hoffman thing. But yeah, by then I pretty much knew who was probably hounding me by then.
So who is Hoffman specifically?
Okay, well that's a whole different story.
There's Hoffman.
August Hoffman. I'll give you a background on him first. August Hoffman went through the academy and became a deputy around 1983.
Okay.
I've got a lot of information in the book about him. Some I can remember. I'm old. I'm 74, so got to give me a break. He came in 83 and ended up going to Central Jail. And when he got to Central Jail, he advertised himself to everybody there as a guy that had a doctor of psychology degree. He was a psychologist and a PhD, and somehow he convinced at least some of the supervisors around him that he was literally a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And the reason that he was a cop is because he wanted to primarily work with law enforcement. So he thought by being a deputy and doing work as a deputy, he would understand the job better. And so here he was. And he didn't get the normal assignment at the jail that most guys do. He didn't get assigned to, 2,000 or 3,000. He was given pretty much a lot of free rein to treat, literally, I'm going to say treat, but he counseled and treated deputies that were having problems, either work problems or family problems. They let him.
Really?
They let him, according to him now, they let him spend his work time talking and treating deputies at the jail. That's what he did.
Damn.
And I guess in about 83 is when Strauss, was it Strauss? John, the head of psych services, Stratton, head of psych services, got fired. Some kind of drug thing that he was involved in, and he got fired. And Audrey Honig got promoted into his spot, but that left a position open. And it's almost comical now because now you've got a guy at the jail that is looked at by his supervisors as really the perfect candidate for this opening. And they grab him and they sit him down and say, we want you to apply for this job and this opening. And he didn't want to do it.
I know why.
Because he doesn't have,
Yeah, exactly.
He had no degrees. He didn't have any kind of degrees in psychology at all. He was not a psychologist, and now they're pushing him to apply for the job. And so he sits down and fills out an application, says he's got all these degrees and from here and there, and he's a doctor of psychology, and Audrey Honig hired him. I mean, he must have really gotten a lot of backing for that to happen, but she hired him. She never saw any of the documentation he said he had. She and this is I'll get to how I got that, but from his own words, she gave him 2 years to
Put his stuff together?
put that stuff together and get it in.
2 years.
So for 2 years, he knew he could never do that. But for 2 years, he was now a card-carrying doctor of psychology treating deputy sheriffs and deputy sheriff families. He got his fantasy job, you know.
Oh, my God.
Nobody knew about any of this stuff, you know. Nobody knew about it. It was he bailed after the 2 years, and nobody
Even knew what he did.
I don't think most people thought about it. But while I was at N.O.R.S.A.T, it was New Year's of 1992. So it was the morning, January 1st of 92. I'm pretty sure. I was home with my family. We weren't working, and I get a call from unit commander, and he's like, hey, I need you to roll to Santa Clarita Station right now. And not Santa Clarita, Crescenta Valley. Crescenta Valley, he goes, I need you to roll right now to Crescenta Valley Station. He said, I've got a call from the sheriff himself, which would have been Block. The sheriff himself requesting that you go and handle this investigation. And he told me a little bit. He said, we got a guy up there that got arrested for impersonating a deputy at the Rose Parade. And apparently he's a male black, and of course he's not a deputy, but he got arrested with a badge and in a uniform, and they wanted to know what the hell's going on, and is there a bigger thing now going on? You know, what was the plan? And so I scrambled up to Crescenta Valley Station and walked in and sat down with this guy, Lemoyne Bolton. And I did a little research on Lemoyne and, you know, some of the booking and his background and stuff. He's a felon. He had been in prison for fraud and I think bad checks or something, but he had been in prison and he had been released and put into a halfway house, but he had escaped that halfway house. That's why he was just considered an escapee. But now he's in jail, so I go in and I sit down and I start interviewing him, and he's one of these guys. He just knows he knew he was in trouble. You know, I didn't walk in there. That was just me and him. You know, I didn't walk in there busting his balls or anything. You know, he's already in jail. I sat down and tried to understand why he did what he did, and then my other thing, I think my primary thing was, where'd you get the badge?
Yeah.
How'd you get this sheriff's badge? And the badge was actually a flat badge, and he had bent the ears back
To make it.
to make it look curved, and he hot glued a big safety pin on the back of it. And it looked pretty good. I mean, he had a sheriff's uniform, a shirt and everything. I did notice when I looked at what they booked him in with, like the holster he was wearing, was not made for the gun he had. He had a revolver, but I don't even know what fit in that holster, but that revolver definitely didn't fit in that holster. So I went in, I interviewed him, and he gave me a whole life story, basically. He did about how he always wanted to be a cop, but he lived up in the Altadena area and things went bad for him, and he still had this fantasy of being a cop. And he's talking about, this is where investigations, you get an investigation and you think it's going to be a one day, one interview, file the charges and you're done with this thing. But he starts telling me a story about where he got the badge. And his story basically, and it's going to be more detailed in the book. Basically, his story is that he got out of the halfway house, he needed a job, and he went to one of these county homes for abused children and I don't know if he knew somebody there or what, but they hired him as a counselor for the kids there. He did an application, of course, didn't tell them that he was a wanted man. He just did an application and they read it and said, okay, you're hired, you can work with these kids. So he went and worked with the kids. While he's there, he meets the guy that's the psychologist for these kids. And it's a guy named, he's telling me, I met this guy, his name's August Hoffman. And, he was telling everybody he was a retired deputy. He says, I used to go in and I would see his car parked out in front and I would see uniforms hanging in the back of his car, sheriff's uniforms. The guy hadn't been on the department for 5 years or more, and he still got sheriff's uniforms in the back. And he said, he was telling all the kids that, he's a reserve deputy. That's what he was telling the kids. And he would leave his badge, his sheriff's badge, laying around so the kids could find it, because I guess it made Hoffman feel, like a big man when the kids would go, oh, here's your badge, sir. And, and he'd be telling them war stories and stuff about how he worked out in the field last weekend and whatever. And, Bolton might be a criminal, but he's not a dumb criminal. Yeah. He's a pretty smart guy. And he said he looked at the badge, and the badge didn't say reserve. So he kind of questioned Hoffman about that a little bit, and I think at some point Hoffman told him he was retired. And the badge didn't say retired, but that badge was the one thing that Bolton always wanted his whole life. He wanted to be a deputy, and there's that badge he needs. And one day Hoffman left it laying around, and Bolton took it and stole it. He stashed it, on the property for a couple of days, and Hoffman was frantic looking for it. But I mean, what can he do? He's not going to report it.
He can't get another one.
Yeah, he can't report it stolen. And so Bolton kept the badge.
And he was pretending to be a cop.
Yeah, and then ended up buying uniforms and.
So, what a twist.
He had a plan, man. He wanted to be on that. His whole plan was to work the Rose Parade. After he got that badge, he bought uniforms, and he would be in his crappy, stolen, he had a 1029 Victor car that he was driving around in. And he said he started doing traffic stops in that uniform because he had the badge now, but he wasn't trying to, he was stopping women mostly, but he would stop them and get out of the car and get their driver's license and their information. He was a clean-cut guy. I mean, he could have passed easily, and he was doing that quite a bit, I guess. And then one day he stopped some lady and got out of the car up in Altadena and walked up to her and started talking to her, and then she asked if he knew her husband, who was an Altadena deputy, and he got freaked out. And I guess he decided, maybe I should stop doing this now. And he just wanted to let her go and get done with it. But his next big goal was to work the Rose Parade and have all his friends who thought he was a lion ass, never could be a cop felon, that he was really a cop, and he wanted to work the Rose Parade. And he, like I said, he's a smart guy. He ended up following the day before the parade, following some people in uniforms in their private cars, and drove into the parking lot, the parking structure where they were.
Where they parked, yeah.
Yeah. He was in uniform, got out, walked into he parked in the parking structure, walked in the building, followed him in where they were all filling out the paperwork and signing in, and filled out the paperwork, but he doesn't know what an employee number is.
Oh.
He knew he had a badge number, but I think what he did is he wrote 4 digits, his badge number, or 4 digits on the paperwork, and then they called him back. They actually assigned him to work. He worked with Bobby Olmsted.
Bobby
Olmsted, who was later the assistant sheriff. Yeah. And he worked with Donnie Malden.
Donnie Malden.
Yeah, Donnie. Both Firestone guys.
Yeah, I know Donnie.
But he's working with Donnie, and he's working on Bob's crew. And I guess they got a hold of Bob on the radio and told Bob, hey, we got a problem with this guy's employee number. Can you check out his number, give us the right number? And so Bob went and talked to this guy once, and he gave him a different number, and Bob went back and called it in, and of course it still wasn't the right number. So they called Bobby back, and Bobby and Donnie Malden were together, and they walked over to Lemoyne Bolton, and while they were talking to him, they started paying a little more attention to him, and they realized he's got a revolver and a holster that's probably made for an autoloader or something. But at that time, we had gone to Beretta.
Yeah.
And I guess the red flags went up right then. And they ended up taking his gun. And as soon as they took his gun, he grabbed it.
Yeah.
And they ended up chasing him. So you got deputies chasing what looks like another deputy across thousands of people at the Rose Parade. There are Pasadena cops up there that are watching them. Nobody's helping. They didn't know what was going on. The Pasadena coppers are watching, and they see the guy run by. They're yelling, stop him, stop him. And the deputy runs by him, and they don't know what's going on. Donnie ended up tackling the guy and taking him down, and they hooked him up. But that had to be pretty comical out there, I'm sure there were a lot, 900 people out there scratching their heads going, what the heck's going on here?
I wish I knew that when I worked for Donnie. I would have asked him for this story.
Oh, it was, yeah. So I interviewed Bolton, and now I needed to interview.
Yeah. How is he still being a shrink? I mean.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know. I didn't know who he was, and I didn't know he ever was a shrink. I didn't know what he looked like.
Okay.
I ended up getting a number, and I called him. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I don't know what's going on, but I had a clue. But I said, I'd like to interview you. So he came up to CV Station the next day. He voluntarily came up and sat down. I was with, there was a girl I worked with. She was an East LA deputy. I loved her, man. Sylvia Smith.
I don't know.
She passed away. You remind me of Sylvia, actually. She looked a lot like her. But Sylvia, I worked with Sylvia at N.O.R.S.A.T. And she went with me on the interview with Hoffman. And we sat down in the interview room. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. All I wanted to hear Hoffman say is, I left the department and I stole my badge. I kept my credentials. Okay. You kept your credentials.
We'll do it.
Yeah, we're probably going to file some kind of theft charges or something, if I was lucky. But I sat down with Hoffman like this far apart and started talking to him about the badge. And he didn't quite want to come right out and say he stole the badge. He was kind of going around it. And I just needed him to say, yeah, I stole the badge. And I looked at him. I said, look, man, we already know, basically we know what's going on, man. I just want the truth and get this over with. Let's just talk, get it out and talk, let's get it over with. I don't know what he thought I knew. But he clearly thought I knew more than I did because
I know what's coming.
I didn't know anything about this guy other than he looked familiar to me.
Okay.
I kept trying to place his face, but I just couldn't do it. And then I'm sitting there with Sylvia, and I let him tell. I just said, man, just tell us what's going on. Tell us the truth. And he looked at me and he said, first thing he said was odd. He said, did you know Brian Wines? And I looked at him and I'm thinking, how do you know Brian Wines? I mean, Brian, I went to high school with Brian, and I'm looking at this guy like, how do you know Brian Wines?
Mm-hmm.
If you were only on the department in 83 to what? He was only within the department over a few years, 83 to 85 or whatever. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, how do you know Brian? And he started, it was like the floodgates opened up. I think he thought we knew
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
So he just wanted to tell us everything at that point and get it out. He started talking about, he was the psychologist that took care of Brian Wines at Psych Services and when Brian committed suicide.
Yeah.
And when he said that, something inside of me snapped.
Yeah.
For a second, I wanted to go over the table. And I did have some idea about some of that stuff, but nothing like this guy was going to tell me. But I jumped up and I told Sylvia, I got to go. And we went outside. And I was like, I'm gonna go over the table and I'm gonna fucking just beat this guy. And while I'm out in the hallway, a lieutenant from Crescenta Valley Station comes down, and I could never remember the guy's name, Householder or something. I wish I could remember his name. I remembered him from West Hollywood. He's a nice guy. He came down, he looks in the window in the interview room, and he looks at me, he's pissed. He's like, is that August Hoffman? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you better put that guy in jail. He goes, that son of a bitch. And he's blowing up, man. He's ready to go in that room. And he just rattles off this story about how he had his son, I guess, was a teenager, had maybe some alcohol issues or something, and they went to family counseling with Psych Services and ended up sitting in front of August Hoffman, who's at Psych Services. And August Hoffman ended up separating. He didn't give me all the details. Hoffman did, but he ended up separating this lieutenant and the lieutenant's wife
From him.
From each other and seeing them separately. He ends up convincing one that the other one doesn't want to be with them anymore, and convinces them to split up and try to work on their marriage using him. And then he ends up going to the home of the lieutenant's wife and having a sexual encounter with her.
Oh my God.
I mean, people are very vulnerable to this, and
of course,
and he knew it. He groomed her for it, and he ended up going over there, and she got pregnant. And when she contacted Hoffman about that, he responded by writing her a check for a abortion.
Oh,
And the lieutenant had the check.
oh,
I had the check in my file. So I mean, the story was 100% confirmed. And we ended up going back in and pretty much let Hoffman just you know how it is when you're in it. You just let the guy
let him
hang.
talk.
Yeah.
Let him talk.
And I didn't know all this stuff anyway. But Hoffman's the one that gave us the story about the first part of the story about working the jail and treating people and whatever he was doing there, and then getting hired at Psych Services and having the 2 years to submit all his paperwork.
Yeah.
And
Quitting before he had to turn it in.
right. And then he went into, did you know this deputy, Underwood? Did you know this deputy? He named the deputy at Linwood that walked into the locker room and shot himself in the head at the end of shift.
He was supposedly trying to treat them.
They were going to him at Psych Services. And there were about 6 names I recall him rattling off. Of that 6, I think I knew 3. But I think the one that was the closest, that got me the one that hit me was Brian.
Yeah.
That was over the top for me, and I didn't even know half of that story until he continued on. But all those suicides under his care, but apparently nothing ever came of all that while he was there, and then. That's when I started looking at him and remembering where I saw him. And I said, now I remember where I saw you. And I mentioned it to him, and he goes, oh, it's a possibility. He didn't remember, but I did remember. I mean, his face is pretty unique. And but he went through 2 years that he worked Psych Services. He went through several different affairs that he had with deputy sheriff's wives, where he used the same grooming pattern by separating people and then
he's a predator.
Yeah, exactly. And he did that for 2 years. The last one was Brian Wines. Now Brian Wines. I don't know if you knew Brian, but Brian was probably one of the most easygoing, nicest, great cop. I mean, a great cop. He knew when to turn on the hard, but he was just a nice guy. I mean, I don't ever remember a day in my life hardly hearing him talk shit about anybody. He's just that kind of guy, but always easygoing. And Brian had gotten married. The story I talk about is what I've gathered from others, but apparently he got married, went on a honeymoon to Hawaii, and got sick. And while he was there, they diagnosed him with MS. So he's working SEB, working a SWAT team. And he comes back home. That MS progressed rather quickly with him. And there was a period of time where he was losing his sight and he became suicidal. The guys that worked with him went to his house and took all of his guns out of the house, I think they thought they got all the guns anyway from the house. And Brian started going to Psych Services with his beautiful nurse wife. And they were going to Psych Services, and August Hoffman happened to be the psych that got assigned to them. And he apparently, like the lech he is, started looking at Brian's wife and kind of liked her. She was pretty, and she's a nurse, and I think he decided he was going to separate them and see them independently, which he did. And he was kind of careful about it, I think. He went a little slower, but my understanding is she worked up in Ventura County. They lived up in that area at a hospital, and apparently he started out by going up there and just dropping in to her place of work every once in a while and having lunch with her, and under the guise of his concern for Brian, and eventually he manipulated her and got what he wanted from her, and Brian found out about it. And when Brian found out about it, he took a shotgun and shot himself. The interesting thing is, I'm not going to use all the names, but I have a good friend that they were checking on Brian almost daily on their way to work or whatever. They were stopping to just check on him, make sure he was okay. And the morning Brian killed himself, this deputy went to the house and there was no answer. And apparently, after it was all said and done, they found out that the day Brian killed himself, his wife was with August Hoffman, and she came home to that, and I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, I can't imagine how she must have felt. I mean, it's got to be an overwhelming,
of course,
guilt on her part, I'm sure. But she's never wanted to talk about it. I wanted to interview her because my sole goal, when this guy told me these stories, was to put him in prison. I could not understand how he could be sitting here telling me that he lied and played doctor and was, even if nobody killed themselves, he should have gone to prison. Mm-hmm. But the fact that there were these suicides, how did he get away with that? And he gave me the answer, but I asked him directly. I mean, how did you not get convicted? How did you not go to jail? He said when he knew his 2 years, at the time Brian killed himself, he was right at the end of that 2-year period, that he knew he couldn't possibly come up with any of those degrees, and decided it was time to leave. So he requested a transfer back to being a deputy and ended up going to IRC. And about 2 weeks after, and I'm only going, I know this is going to piss off the named person here, but Hoffman named an assistant sheriff at that time who he alleged was having an affair with. I took the name out of my book. I can give you the name. He said he was working one night he'd been back at the jail for a couple of weeks, and that took him into a private room and told him that they knew everything. We know what you did. We know you lied. We know everything. You have two options. One option is we prosecute you. The other option is you quit now and go away. Disappear.
Oh.
So he reported his badge stolen. So he kept the badge and then disappeared. And nothing ever came of it. So this whole story comes together at this table. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to lie to you. I was shocked. I hadn't heard any of this stuff. I'd been sitting up at weapons training. I'd been involved in that Firestone thing in '84, and now we're looking at, I'd been at weapons. This guy, other than the fact that I went and saw him for 5 minutes one day, didn't mean anything to me. And the story, I hadn't heard any of it, but apparently other people did.
What was he? Where was he? When did he leave?
He left.
Psych services.
Well, he went to psych services. It would have been in '83, but he was there almost 2 years. So he would have left in '85.
Okay.
And then you can fast forward to like now it's like '92. But I don't believe there's a statute of limitations.
I don't believe so. No. It's a zero.
And I'm going to tell you something. At N.O.R.S.A.T, when I was at N.O.R.S.A.T, when I got there, there was a deputy that had an investigation that started out similar to mine. Started out with nothing, and turned into theft of government parts from Aero Bureau, if you recall that one. And that deputy ended up having SWAT teams surrounding his house. I mean, they wanted that shut down, that investigation, and he didn't want to shut it down. I think his name was Brooks. He was a little crazy guy anyway, but yeah, he had an investigation, and he got dirt, and he pursued it, and it pissed off the department, and they went after him. And they ended up running him off his motorcycle, and a dog bit him, and all kinds of stuff happened. And,
I've heard that story.
Yeah.
I've heard that story.
When I started my investigation, as we got into this, guys were coming to me going, hey, they didn't want any part of this investigation. I can't tell you how hard it was to get any help. I have a watch commander or a unit commander telling me, do this. He was doing this. Get every drop you can out of it. Squeeze it for everything you can and I agreed with him. I wanted to see Brian Wines get justice if that's
tell
a word.
Story.
And I squeezed everything I could get out of it. Everything. I had guys at the units. I needed help with something. We don't want to be part of it.
Really?
Okay. Hey, yeah, that's fine. I understand, but I liked Brian Wines. He's a friend, a lifetime friend. And
nothing going to stop you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I continued. And then Sylvia stayed with me, and we walked into the Pasadena District Attorney's office with 2 big binders with every report and every piece of evidence and everything we had in 2 big binders. Walked in. I thought we were just going to go sit down in front of the filing deputy like we normally do. And 5 minutes later, we were going to walk out of there, and he was going to file something, and we were going to be done. But we sat there for 45 minutes. And finally, when they took us up to the head DA at the Pasadena District Attorney's office. And I sat down in front of him in his giant office and desk, and he's laughing and smiling, and I handed him all the files, and he opened up one, and he looked at a page or two, and then he pulled a pink, while he was talking to us, and he never stopped, like a car salesman. He never stopped talking. He's filling out a pink slip, and he hands it to me, and I said, what's this?
It's a reject.
It's a reject.
It's a reject.
I said, why are you rejecting this? How can you do that? I said, you haven't even looked at it. Well, yeah, but I already know. No, you don't know. You haven't read one page of what we don't even know what we've got there, and you're rejecting it. Well, I'm telling you, it was already.
Yeah.
There was phone calls.
He got
were
phone
made,
calls. Yeah.
And we couldn't file it. So I told him then. I said, "Yeah, you know what? I'll take this to the news press." You won't do that. You want to bet me? I will do that. And I did. I went to a girl at that time that worked at the Daily News that followed a lot of the N.O.R.S.A.T stories we did. And she jumped on it. She had been following the Hoffman story.
Okay.
So she jumped on this, and her editors wouldn't let her write it. Sylvia, at that point, I didn't want to stop. I kept going with it, with what I could. Sylvia, and I don't blame her, she talked to me and said she just wanted to bow out. It was time. And I probably should have let it go. I didn't. I kept the file. I never let that file go. I kept that in my car the whole time. And I mean, I knew they were going to come after me again, and they did. The reason I retired, I just reached a point after they passed me up on my sergeant's promotion, and I talked to Dick Cheney, who was with A-Lads at that time, and I liked Dick. I respected him, and he just told me, he goes, look, I don't understand why, but they've got a huge hard-on for you, basically. And I know who he was talking to. Yeah. I blame Block. I'm not going to lie to you. I blame Block for this, for a lot of what went on. But I get it. They don't want the politics would have killed them. Mm-hmm. I mean, how do you?
No, you're exposed.
Yeah. How do you dig out of that? How do you dig out? And even if Block didn't know or knew very little about what happened in 1985 when this guy was allowed to quit, it's still under him.
It's his responsibility. It's
exactly.
his boat. He's the captain of the ship. He's in charge of everything, and it would have came down. That's a word we used when I was at Tech Ops called political capital. And I didn't learn that word till I got there.
One of the last things that I did before we tried to file the charges on this was I went to Foreman, and I got permission to get August Hoffman's personnel file out of the vault. I wanted to look through that because that personnel file is going to have all his transfers. And that was going to be the proof that I needed that he did that transfer to psych services. And he gave me permission. And I went to the vault and I signed in for that file. And I don't know how much. I know Dick Cheney wasn't really involved in this, but he knew everything about this, everything.
Oh, they had a meeting.
Yeah, he told me in the beginning. Well, I'll tell you what he told me when I'm done. But he gave me permission to get the guy's personnel jacket. I went down to do it. They looked for it. They came back out, and they said, it's not here.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what do you mean it's not here? How do you lose a personnel jacket in this place, you know?
In the other vault.
And he showed me an entry in the book where it was signed out, but it said it was signed out by Sergeant Miller, pretty common name, isn't it? With no employee number, no unit number or assignment, nothing. It just said Sergeant Miller signed out that file or that folder and nothing else. So I went back to to Dick Foreman, and I told him, I said, hey, I don't understand how this can happen, and I told him, and he looked at me and he goes, you know what, give me a day or two, and I'll give you a call. And he called me like the next day, and he said, I've got that file. He goes, why don't you come on in? So I went to his office, and he hands it to him, and he goes, have a seat. There was a desk there with a little table in his office. He goes, you take out anything you want out of there. Anything you want to take, my secretary will photocopy for you. So I started going through the file. And one thing I noticed is when they build these files, they just stack paper.
Yeah.
I mean, the oldest paper would be here and the newest would be here. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed is it was reversed.
Yeah, they put it back together.
Yeah, they put it back together. So his hiring stuff was on top, and then below that was a transfer request to go to psych services, and then below that was a commendation that was written by Audrey Honig to August Hoffman for being such a fantastic psychologist and the great work he's been doing for the Sheriff's Psychological Services. He had a commendation in there.
What the hell?
And there was some other stuff in there. I took that stuff and they photocopied it for me. But what I did notice is that stuff was kind of out of order.
Yeah.
It wasn't, nothing back in that place was in order.
It's always they just lay it on top for your whole career.
Exactly. So somebody had gone in there. I'm
Yeah.
sure they purged some
Of
things,
course.
but I'll never know what they took out.
I'm surprised you got it back. I'm surprised they found it or returned it.
Well, I asked, I was shocked. I said, where was this?
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and he said, he didn't use names, but he said it was in the office. I found it in a desk in the office next door. That was the undersheriff's office. So I was like, okay. And so I looked through it. I gave it back, and he said he was just going to go put it back in that desk. I mean, they stashed it because they knew what I was doing.
Yeah, of course. Trying to save it.
And then,
I'm surprised you got it. I'm surprised you got to look at it.
well, before I left, shortly after that, I thought things had kind of died down a little bit. We had an Asian gang thing that we got from the Asian Gang Task Force that we did, where we took some guys down, and anyway, that's a different whole other story. But anyway, we ended up with a fight with a guy over a gun, and we took him down.
Yeah.
But after that was over, they were going to give us an award for not using restraint.
Commendable restraint.
Yeah, but they wanted to make a thing out of it with the sheriff.
Commendable restraint.
And so they had our team there, and Dick Foreman came in to watch him give the awards, and then Foreman came over and got a picture with me with the award, and then Block came in to take pictures with the unit, and then Foreman went out of his way to walk up to Sherman Block and say, hey Sherman, this is Dale Hedges. Do you know Dale Hedges? And Block looked at me and just, I mean, dude, if fire could come out of a guy's eyes, I'd have been burned. And he turned around and walked away. He didn't talk to me. And Dick later got me in his office. He told me, he goes, I just want you to know, he goes, I'm going to retire in a few weeks.
Whoa.
And he goes, I'm going to tell you right now. He goes, I've been able to keep people off your back. But he says, I'm just telling you right now. He goes, when I'm gone, there's nothing I can do. And he goes, yeah, you do have a target on your back from these offices right here.
Damn.
So when he left, he warned me, and I'm like, why? And he used the word damage control. I said, why would they hide this? Why would all this stuff not just be put out there? And he said, damage control. His words. He said, if this got out, imagine the lawsuits. And I mean, the number of people that this guy could possibly have treated in a 2-year period. How many other wives, maybe daughters or children, who knows what he could have done. And maybe they knew more than I do. I don't know, but
it's against everything you tell the guys to do. Go talk to somebody. Hey, you're having trouble? Go talk to somebody. And you expect a professional to be there when you go to talk to that person. And this is what you present as your representative of mental health or somebody who's going to help you through probably the worst time of your life.
Right.
And this is what I'm saying. We push our guys. Even in here, I have links to Cop Line. I want guys to call. And you expect somebody on the other side of that phone to know what they're doing or talk to you in a way that you could they could help you. This guy's doing self-serving, predatory shit. So these deputies are getting the worst advice, and some of them are making the ultimate choice. There is someone that needs to stand tall for this.
Well,
they should.
My opinion is you got Audrey Honig, who initially made the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an assistant sheriff or an undersheriff, or who later undersheriff, that for his own reasons protected her from any of this. And then you now have an undersheriff who doesn't want any of this to come out now because it's going to make him look bad. It's certainly going to end up making the sheriff look bad, under his watch. It would have been so much easier for all these people to come together and go, hey, we made a big mistake.
We made a mistake.
And it's cost deputies, and we need to do something now. They should have done it. They should have done it in 1985.
Well, those people you're mentioning in the ivory tower were all deputies and went to the same academy where they tell you jump on the sword and fix it at the beginning. You don't keep dragging it on. It gets worse, and it gets worse. The fact that they didn't cut it off, now he's over at this new job doing the same stuff and repeating the same pattern. It's just take that guy and say it's not psychological, it's not mental health, it's child abuse, or it's anything else. And you're continuing it, you're pushing it down the road. You didn't fix it, you made it worse. Now this guy's emboldened. And he's probably doing, I don't even want to know what he was doing with the kids.
I mean, we'll never know. We really won't.
That's just horrible.
I mean, my gut feeling is that he's just a predator.
He is.
A female predator, that he knew that they were easy and he could manipulate them. I'm sure after he talked to them for 10 minutes, he knew whether these people were vulnerable.
Like any other predator.
But the department, I will be the first to say, I came in under Peter Pitches. I liked Pitches. I know he had problems with people, but I liked Pitches. I did. I liked Block. I didn't have any issue with Block. This is my issue. Now, to try to be fair, when I see people talk about Block, online or whatever, they think the guy is the greatest thing. He's the last good sheriff. I'll give you that. We haven't had an absolutely fantastic sheriff since Block. Everything's just gone downhill. But knowing what I know about Block, it's hard for me to accept that Block was that good of a guy. Why did this get hidden?
Yeah.
Why a real sheriff would have said,
no, bring it out to the light.
Yeah, throw it out there.
Yeah.
How many other people did this guy see that he could have screwed up? How many guys, and I know this because I went through my own personal demons with this department. How many guys took the shaft from some captains or lieutenants or chief or somebody that didn't like them because they parted their hair funny, they didn't talk the way other deputies talk, maybe they were a little too direct. How many guys ended up going to psych services, seeing this guy, and lost their jobs?
Yeah.
Because they couldn't get their head straight because they didn't have a real psychologist. How many family members broke up because of this guy? How many other suicides maybe happened? Suicides don't have to happen now.
Yeah, you're right.
A guy can hang in for 5 and 10 years.
Yeah.
How many of those guys are out there that he saw? They let this guy walk.
No.
And the worst part of it is, after he walked, he went, so allegedly, it looks like he got a degree in psychology, and he's been an instructor, a teacher at Metropolitan University in Wisconsin or something. I mean, he's a a certified psychologist. What is it that he teaches? What is it? Ethics, yeah, ethics.
Ethics.
Yeah, he teaches ethics.
God. So,
His daughter got it. I was contacted by his daughter, who wanted to know, if she could talk to me because she didn't know any of this. I've been contacted by students that heard about it or read the book that were appalled that he is a teacher at their school, and they were taking it to the next level to try to do something about it. And who knows how many of his students he might have.
Well, you don't get absolved because now you got a degree. You got to pay for what you did before.
No, and the fact that he's not a deputy or that he didn't have this group of people to. No,
it's new. They're new.
He had other people now he could go after. So I don't know. I still believe in my soul that this still should be investigated, and somebody should still relook at it and still be visiting that school he's at and bringing him back here to stand up for the things he did and take accountability.
Accountability. That's
exactly.
the word.
Like they expect every cop out there to be accountable.
Exactly.
But this guy walked, and what he did was horrible.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. I think it's just as horrible hiding it. I don't give credit. I don't give breaks. I think if you had the chance to stop it, you need to stop it. We're all taught that. And to let it keep going on, you're just as guilty. I don't care if you wear badges or stars or clusters or stripes.
They knew exactly what he did.
You do the right thing.
They knew exactly what he did during that 2 years. They know exactly the names of the people that were injured the most by him, and they hid the whole thing. I know other people have contacted this guy over here that after all these years said, hey, I saw that guy and I was having this problem, and I happened to end up talking to this guy when he was at psych services, So it's all there. It's all facts.
Yes, again, we want our guys to get help. We want them to get help, and they don't. That's not what you're supposed to be talking to. The guy that's not a real psychologist. That's just an ultimate, I think, betrayal. And you didn't do a better job of weeding out or doing a background on them. I think there's no excuse for that. Look how much it takes for us to become deputies. What they do to see if we can wear a badge.
Right.
You're just going to say, well, he just swear him in 2 years. What is 2 years? It doesn't take 2 years to get anything, paperwork. You can get a degree, a copy of a degree in a week. When we go get our post, we have to go to the colleges and get them ourselves.
And have them in your hand.
Have them in my hand and hand it to. It takes.
Right.
I do it. I pay for it.
How do you give somebody 2 years, to treat
It's
people?
almost like you knew he didn't have them.
Who knows?
I mean, seriously, if you wanted to, that's how you would do it. I'm going to give you 2 years to fake it, and then you better be out of here. I don't know the answers, but I just think there's no excuse. I don't give people breaks.
The only excuse they have is protecting their own asses because they let this go on for that 2 year period. And then, rather than doing the right thing, they tried to protect each other.
It made it worse.
And made it worse.
Yeah, it made it worse.
After this, it just haunted me. I'm not lying. For 20, 30 years, it's just been something that I
can imagine.
I thought about. I couldn't shake it. That interview. If I really sat down here, I could remember word for word that whole interview, the entire interview. I did. I didn't have a bunch of notes. I just remembered because I can't forget. Really, it's just not something you're going to forget. And when I decided, I wrote it because I wanted to get it out, but I also wrote it because there are people out there still
being abused and still being
right that may have seen him. Still, there are people that
there's people going to read this and go, "That's why he wanted to do that. That's why he told me to do this and that." Like separating the couples. Yeah. That's why he didn't want to meet me with my wife. Now I was
contacted by a girl that works psych services that talk to me about stuff. There's lawsuits going on with psych services right now. Talked to me and said she read the book and she told me nothing's changed.
Oh,
They hired a
damn.
psych there, somebody, and he may be a psych, but he's not certified to be a psych here in the state of California.
They hired him anyways.
They hired him anyway, and he was sitting psych doing the job. And I mean, that's not how you do business with law enforcement. That, to me, psych services is probably one of the most important
Absolutely.
things.
Absolutely.
That's the most important asset that deputies have if they're struggling. If they're struggling.
And most of them are.
And many of them are. Many of them.
Everybody sees and hears and deals. Sometimes you need to talk. That has to be available and has to be pristine. It has to be perfect. You have to have professionals.
So they break it, but they don't fix it.
Yeah. So
after all these years.
And you're wondering why you guys are burned out. And they're not
Or you
getting
wonder
help.
why you have 14 suicides.
In 1 year.
Where do they go to get help?
These guys aren't helping. I don't know, man. I just think that it's unacceptable. And it is. I think the reason why it resonates so much with you is betrayal. It's your brothers. I want my brothers to be healthy. I want them to get help. I don't want them to go and not have the help they need. If you're gonna reach out, it takes so much for a deputy to say, or cop, I need help. Let me make a phone call. They don't want to do it. No one wants. No one wants to make.
I've been in situations where I've literally I've gotten phone calls at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, gone to a deputy's house who's walking around with a loaded gun in his waistband, talking about killing himself, and I'm there for that. I'm there to stay there until somebody can get there, somebody from psych services.
Mm-hmm.
But they asked me to get there first and talk to the deputy because both of them were people I knew.
Yeah.
That I literally had to talk into giving me that gun. One of them wanted to go to the bathroom. I walked into the bathroom because I didn't trust him and found another gun in his bathroom. And I mean, I could tell he was like pretty determined. He was just building up to it. So after I got the gun out of the bathroom, I let him go ahead. He closed the door. I took the gun, the 6-shot 2-inch revolver, unloaded it, and put it in my waistband. And while he was in the bathroom, and put the bullets in my pocket. He comes out of the bathroom. He's talking to me. He's crying. He just wanted a hug. Next thing I know, he's got it. I wasn't worried about the gun because I knew it was not loaded, but that he didn't. And he reached down and took the gun pulled it out of my waistband, put it up, pulled the trigger.
What?
And it just clicked. And he broke down crying when it didn't go off. And I looked at him and I just was speechless. I mean, it just shocked me. And that's not the first time I would have seen somebody get shot or shoot themselves or whatever, but it's a deputy. It's somebody I know. And it just shocked me. And I remember probably 30 minutes later, some people from psych services showed up to the apartment that he's in, and I left. I got in my car. I probably drove 300 yards, and I opened my car door and lost everything in my stomach. It was just an overwhelming thing to see that. And psych services, that's something that this department can't afford to let break. And they can't afford to hide mistakes as psych services does. And I feel for the deputy. I know there's one, I know I'm promoting Mike Bornman. I'm out with him on the road, and I live in Vegas, but I drive out here for this. But I think he's the only person that I've heard talk about psychological problems with deputies that understands it and understands where psych services is broke and why it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
And
the guys deserve it. The guys deserve it.
They deserve it. They need to trust it. They need to be able to, if they're struggling, if they're having, they need somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
You know, I've been retired since 1997. But I'm going to tell you something. If you cut me right now, I'm still tan and green inside. I love the guys. I can't think of many deputies that I didn't care about or that I wouldn't have taken that bullet for. I mean, you know, you don't work with very many the kind of people that when shots are fired, they're running towards those shots, not away from it. You know, they're going into it, not away from it.
Yep. Without hesitation.
Those are special people
yeah.
right there. I love them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd follow one of them still today. Mm-hmm. But
yep.
I think these kind of issues, deputies need to know.
Yeah. There's reinforcements.
I'm sorry if I hurt the feelings of a few people that, and I did. I hurt a couple of feelings here because I hurt the feelings of people that tried to cover all this up and bury it. And I'm sorry I did that. But you know what? It is what it is. They made big mistakes. And Audrey Honig, she got fired, terminated. She's not with the department. So, I mean, she doesn't even want anybody to know about this.
It's a mistake. We all make them, but you have to come clean. You come clean. You just have to come clean. It's always going to get worse the more you try to hide it. And I go back to, I've been in the room when they're trying to figure out things, and I'm happy that most of the time they figured out just get in front of it. Just get in front of it.
And that's what they should have done with this.
Yep.
The day they knew, they should have started investigating. They should have started looking backwards at all the people that he saw, even if it was for 5 minutes, and saying, "Hey, you know, do you need to talk to somebody else?
We'll give you somebody else." Exactly.
Yeah, you know,
yes. That's what they should have done. An alternative to him. Let's get you real help. Make sure you're okay. For the people who didn't survive his shit, they should be compensated. I'm sorry, but somebody has to stay. Someone's liable for all that because it's unheard of that I go to somebody and the sheriff's department's pushing them or they're part of the department. They should stand tall. Say, we screwed up. We screwed up, man. We screwed up. We're sorry. Whatever it is, we have to make some policy changes like they always do. Let's do some policy changes. Just do something. Hiding it is it's weak. It's just weak. It's a cowardly way to do it.
It is weak, and it's cowardly too. I mean, yeah, you know, maybe they made a mistake and it's going to cost them a little bit, but okay, you know, fine. At least you manned up.
And be brave now. I did it. We stressed cops or deputies. Get in front of it. I did it. I'm sorry. Take my lumps. What it is.
There's people still in denial. They still don't want their name associated with it because, you know, the day they die, they don't want to have anybody remember this. Well, and I'm sorry,
I don't think it works like that.
You know,
the day you die.
The day I die, I'll probably be thinking about it.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
you've taken the challenge and you've been running with it. I hope this helps. I hope people buy the book. Where can they get it?
Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Damage Control. If they Dale Happy Hedges or Dale Hedges, whatever, they can see the cover there. But they can get it on Amazon, and actually sold quite a few books.
Good.
Been surprised by the number of books.
Outstanding. I'm happy to help you in any way. You want to come back when you do your second part, or?
I'd be happy to. Yeah. The next book is kind of a little lighter. I'll be honest with you. I think before the book actually came out, when the manuscript was read, I got a phone call from a what is it?
Movie producer.
What is it?
Movie producer.
Yeah,
Movies?
a movie producer. Yeah, but it's River Rock Productions.
Yeah.
But they contacted me and talked to me about the book, and the guy he's dying to do a series about
Nice.
Based on my career, but based on the book. Now how it ends up, who knows? It could end up being more like a Starsky, Scott, and Hutch fantasy, but the next book is basically it's more of just stories.
Yeah.
One after the other, after the other, after the other. And again, it's stuff most people don't even imagine, Some of it's stuff they read about, some of it's stuff that...
Some of the stuff we say in here.
Yeah.
I like storytelling, and it's fun, It's like the fish story. This fish keeps getting bigger. So,
Exactly. It's true.
But I love the stories. My boys love hearing stories. Love it. And I always tell them the funny stories, We don't tell the terrible stories to our families most of the time. But this is a good way for people to see how it is. That's the field. That's the way it is.
And it's cop humor.
Yeah.
I mean, bad things happen, but how do cops deal with a lot of...
Usually laughter.
It's like, I don't remember if it's specifically in there, but, I worked one night. We went to court all day, worked a day shift, then we were in court most of the day shift, but ended up working a PM shift, and then got held over for earlies. And we were literally, I don't know how we even kept our eyes open. I happened to be the bookman, and I don't know if I was dozing off or not, but drove up this little alley and up around, it had to be up around 68 or something like that, near Central, but in a little alley.
Yeah.
Ran over a body that was laying in the middle of the alley.
What?
So apparently a driver, my partner, was also like me after being awake almost full 24 hours, and he boom over this thing. We thought we hit a dog.
Oh my
We were
God.
like, what the hell? And we jumped out, and there was a guy, he was tied up, but he was laying right in the center of the alley where the gutter part is. Yeah. And we were like, oh my God, now what? We ended up, there was another guy locked in the trunk of a car about 20 feet away that heard us out there. He was yelling and trying to get us to get him out of the trunk.
Serious?
But yeah, it was a dope deal thing.
Oh my God.
They tied one guy up and tied him to the back of the car, and they shot him and then drug him. It turned out it started in the city side.
Oh, okay.
We thought it was going to be a county call.
County.
The body literally was in the alley, half on one side and half on the other, half in the city and half in the county. So when the county came out, and we're looking at it, and they're following the blood trail and scrape marks and skin, and they followed it on the other side of
to LA City?
Central into LA City.
Here you go.
It's yours. I remember that when we were out there, they were arguing. And then the sheriff guys just turned around and basically gave him the finger and walked away.
I've heard the story. Somebody told me the story. I don't know who, where they followed the blood trail to LAPD's area and go, here you go, it's yours.
Oh yeah. We thought we were going to get in trouble. But, I mean, nobody ever even questioned why he had tire marks on him. So.
I forgot about that part. Oh, my God. Good stuff.
I don't remember anybody ever asking, how'd those tire marks get on him? But I know we woke up, man. It was like instant adrenaline.
Oh, yeah. That will wake you up, man. So is there anything else? Anything else you got for me?
No, I appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate yours. I'm honored that you're here. And I think it's great. I think your book is great. I'm going to try to push it as much as I can. I'll put a link in my description.
Great.
And hopefully people, they want to get a hold of me, I can send them to you. I'll get some of your information too.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming out. Anytime you want to come back, I would love to have you back. Bring some friends. You could bring Mike back with you if you want, or anybody else.
Oh, Mike's my friend.
Come on back. We'll tell some stories.
I don't know how much you want to use for Mike, but I'm here in LA because of Mike. So got all these people running for sheriff, and it's just time. The department's collapsing.
Yeah,
So it's just time
absolutely.
for somebody that knows how to run the department, not somebody looking for vengeance, not some guy from an 800-member department. Got to have somebody that's there for the right reason.
It's true. It's true. I hope it happens. Appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.